Alright, welcome back. This is episode 49 of the PlayStation MVP cast, our first one on Twitch. We had a small technical issue there, but we've got that resolved. I'm your host, Michael Vash, 7886, and tonight I am joined by the one writer.
You guys.
Alright, and welcome back. This is
Never
episode
mind.
49 of the PlayStation MVP cast, our
Yeah, I
first
wouldn't
one
go
on
by
Twitch. We had a small technical issue there, but we've got that resolved. I'm your host, Michael. It's not on my end. And tonight I am joined by the one.
I didn't do anything on my end either. Yes. All I did was I just swapped out my mic.
And hang on. Never sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't go by that.
Great. Great. I figured out what it was. Sorry guys, the thread I had open started randomly playing it. I forgot it would actually do that. So yeah. Anyway. The one writer is here, and we also have Sid, SC Vicious. I keep on wanting to say Sid because I'm just so used to Sid Vicious from the wrestling days of the 90s. But SC Vicious is joining us for his first episode, so we're gonna see how that goes. If everything goes wrong, it is his fault. Just a note. And so far he's not batting very well. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about tonight. Highlights include the PS4s with PT selling for quite a bit of money on eBay. Banjo Kazooie successor is coming to the PS4. Sony is not going to Gamescom, and next EA Games, the next EA Games schedule has slipped out. So videos tonight. I'm gonna go in and start that now. That's gonna be Hand of Fate, and also I grabbed some Ultron. That just, I believe that's coming out next week, or it's coming out, or it just came out, one of the two. I'm blanking on which.
And did you grab any Wolfenstein?
I grabbed some Wolfenstein New Order, actually. I haven't got I wanted to try to play through that before I play the Old Blood. So,
okay.
In honor of Wolfenstein, I had to grab some New Order. It's early in the campaign, though, so if you haven't played it, it might be something to check out.
Very easy playing them.
Yeah, it is, actually, especially if you delete the first patch. But yeah, so we're going to start off the podcast like we always do, and we're going to go with what have you been doing. So, Ryder, what have you been doing?
Some may know, I'm a big herald for the Player One headset, and I help people set it up and everything. But sadly, my headset has taken a toss for the third time because of my daughter. And they didn't come back on. They wouldn't charge or anything. So not a lot of people are made on money, so I had to find a way to get another headset quick without spending any money. And got what is it? I had an old 3DS I wasn't even using. I hadn't used it for like I would say 2 years, so I didn't see a point in keeping it because I primarily play on my Vita. Shout out the PlayStation. So I sold that. They were selling it for $50, which was crazy. And all he said was, if you had a cord, it's $50. If you didn't have a cord, it's $0. So whatever that means. But
yeah, they want to make sure that they have like an adapter to go with it. I believe.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they just don't really want to take it.
Yeah, and so I traded that in, and then I had the PlayStation camera since launch of the PS4, but I had that novelty item. I had it unplugged within a week, and so I had that since launch and never used it. And it's just been in the back of my closet forever. And surprisingly, they were grabbing that for $30, and that was $80 right there. And I took a few games. I don't really play my PS3 anymore, and so I took a few games like the Tomb Raider collection. And what else did I bring in? I brought in the God of War title that no one likes to mention, Ascension. I brought that in, and I was able to actually grab the PlayStation Golds again, which I originally did have and I liked, but I had given out to a friend, seeing as I didn't think I needed two headsets. Kind of got proved wrong later, but
if you weren't thinking, you wouldn't have thought that, Ryder.
I didn't know the future. I didn't have a crystal ball or anything like that, but. Besides that, I've just been enjoying that and playing some Borderlands. I wanted to play some Wolfenstein, the Old Blood, but I haven't got time to wrap around there because I don't know, just been busy, and then they just recently came out with some PlayStation Plus titles, which we'll be talking about shortly, that I want to take a delve in.
Yeah, there's a lot there. And by the way, I know we have a few people in chat, Castile and Fex. If you guys have any thoughts on topics we're talking about as we go through the night, definitely, give your thoughts, and we'll, if we see them or something, we may shout them out. Who knows? We haven't had very many live chatters, so could be a little different tonight. We'll have to see how it goes. But what about you, Vicious? What have you been up to?
I've mostly been wasting my life away, finally starting up Final Fantasy 14. Started up about 3 weeks ago. I think I'm about level 43, 44 last night. I finally got to Garuda. I was gonna run it tonight, but lo and behold, I'm doing this, having fun here. Other than that, few titles been checking out. Definitely Titan Souls. That's by far been probably my favorite game. That's been kind of messing with my head. Game's a lot of fun.
I thought about grabbing that, but then I saw one of the trophies is beat it in 20 minutes, and I'm like, I'm not sure about that. I'm sure it would take me longer to beat it, but I don't know. I'd have to see like what the first playthrough really looks like.
I thought it was easy within the first 5 minutes until I got to the second area, and then they started messing with me pretty good. If I try to go for that 20-minute trophy, man, I'm gonna have to be quick on my twitch fingers there, because you get hit once and you're pretty much dead, and you hit the boss once and they're pretty much dead. But obviously every single one has a new mechanic along the way. Some of them multiply into hundreds on the ground, and you're trying to find the heart or whatever to shoot it out with the one arrow. That's all you get, one arrow. It's a lot of fun though.
Right.
But other than that, yeah, pretty much just trying to get through the story on Final Fantasy 14. That way, I'm not worried when The Witcher 3 drops, because I know my life's gonna be wasted on that in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm sure mine's gonna be the same, and I know Ryder's planning on picking it up. We all are, actually.
Yep.
So
it'll be the first time where all the MVP cast members are just gonna pick it up.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm looking forward to that game. All right. For me, I have been just trying to. We've been talking a lot about stuff we were changing for the podcast, so I've been busy with some of that, and then mostly work beyond that. And I did stream some Magic 2 sneak peek Tuesday night. I recorded the highlight. If you guys want to check it out, it's on the Twitch channel, and I think it's also on my YouTube, and I'll have to post a link to that at some point. I'm going to try to be pushing the episodes to YouTube as we go along. I've been trying to do that with the previous platform, but it was just not working as smoothly. I'm going to have to figure out something else on that, or even just, putting the audio over, just a logo screen or something. I may have to do something like that, and I should be able to get the audio caught up. I think I need to do 48 and then this episode for the audio, so I'll probably have that up this weekend, and we'll be all caught up again. But yeah, that's really been it for me. Like I said, I did try to start getting into the New Order, because I've had the game for a while. I just haven't had the chance to really mess with it. And with the Old Blood, I wanna kind of try to play through it first. But let's go straight into the drop. I'm not sure this segment's gonna stick around, but we'll see. We've been doing it for forever when we were doing it on Monday, so we'll see if this is still viable later in the week. We have to rework the beginning a little bit. But anyway, this week we have Air Match Arena, Arcade Archives City Connection, Chariot hits PS3, Cosmophony, that's a 3-way cross-buy, Ether 1 hits PS4, Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor Game of the Year Edition, and Siberia 2 hits PS3, and Wolfenstein The Old Blood, as well as a demo for Ride. I have that downloaded, but I have a feeling I'm not going to like it. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I really actually would like a dirt bike racing game. The only one I've seen is like MX, I don't know, MX something, MX14, MX GP14 or something. No, it's a PS4 game.
It's a
But it's
weird
like
street bike racing.
no, no, no. This is
Oh,
actually dirt bike.
let's say that's Bike Club.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no, no.
No,
That
I'm
I played the
thinking
demo
the
for
wrong
that.
thing.
That was bad. No. This was MXGP 14. There was not a demo or anything for it. Like I would actually, if I could find it cheap, like I would probably just pick it up just to try it out. But I haven't seen it for cheap or anything, so I haven't. Maybe this year I can keep an eye out for it if they do it again.
They really need to
Oh,
like just bring out like some classics that were on the PS2 and like kind of revitalize them on the PS4. Like I don't know if anybody remembers Downhill Domination or the MX series. Like
Yeah.
I think that MX
Versus
ATV
ATV.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
ATV ones.
that got to be pretty solid.
Yeah, and
I
then
mean, like,
that disappeared.
yeah, well, it's still actually they did recently release one of the versions of that game on Steam. So I mean, the license is still around. It's just a matter of will they be doing anything, new with it. I hope so because I mean, like I have good memories of Excite Bike 64. Like there was some great stuff in that game. And I'm kind of getting the the one I'm really wanting to go back and play something like that now. But we'll see. Maybe there'll be something in the next year or so that I can check out. But we do have PlayStation Plus games as well, so we're gonna run through these. Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition. If you haven't played it, go download it now. It's really good. Ether 1 is on PS4. That's an adventure game. Kind of dark from what I remember, but I haven't actually got to mess with it.
And I heard it's a trophy hunter's dream because it's one of the few indie titles that has a platinum.
It does? Okay. Yeah, that's right. I remember seeing that now. Unfinished One is free again. I believe it was already free on
that's
PS3.
because it was dropped on the PS3 but not for PS4, so
Yeah.
it's kind of
It was
weird.
cross-buy already, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really weird that they're... I can't... It was a while ago, though, so like it was pretty early on.
Even with
So
the
maybe it's
crossbuy,
okay for it to
Even
it's
with
just
the
kinda
cross-buy.
weird. Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
kind of
it
weird.
is kind of weird.
Twice.
Yeah, it is. Race the Sun is another cross-buy title. It's kind of a runner game, but it's pretty cool. I did some video on that a while back. It's pretty cool. And then Ho Hokum hits PS4, PS3, and Vita. If you remember Nobi Nobi Boy, think about that, but 2D and trippy as can be.
Yep. Be sure to be drunk when you play that.
At least. And then also Murasaki Baby.
That's a
is
title
hitting
that
Vita.
I am probably going to play on my Vita this week because I played at E3 and I got to meet the devs and the person who did the music. I got to actually he handed me his headphones and let me listen to the game. Everybody else, he was just using speakers. So that's a really, and it's one of the few Vita titles that are actually utilizing pretty much the majority of the Vita, like the screen and the back touch.
Tokyo Stomp, you're asking what game that is. That is Hand of Fate. It is on PS4 and I believe on PC as well. But it's been around for a while. I think it's like 15 or 20 bucks. It's part card exploration game and part action RPG-ish game. It's actually pretty cool. It's an interesting mix-up. And yeah, Murasaki Baby. Yeah, it's I've heard good things about it. I need to actually get a chance to check it out. All right, Ryder. I'm tired of talking. So why don't you do the list of May releases, and we'll focus on North America, I guess.
All right, so let's see. Let's go down this list. Let me pull it up. Why are you looking? All right, so let me follow the link. And
I pulled a fast one on him.
yeah.
We have, of course,
right,
the
so-
aforementioned Old Blood.
And actually, this month is actually looks like a pretty short list.
Yeah.
We'll skip the one that recently came out, which is Wolfenstein Old Blood. So for North America, I'm releasing is Final Fantasy X, and 10-2 HD remaster. Is for PS4 owners. It'll be coming out May 12th. It'll be retail PSN. Project Cars is finally coming down without any more delays. It's going to be coming out the same day, May 12th. For those who enjoy the Farming Simulator on PC, it's coming. The 15 model is going to be coming to us May 19th. And the title that probably much everyone is probably going to be buying and not going to have nonstop talking about.
Farming Simulator
Witcher
15.
3.
No, Farming Simulator 15 is Game of the Year. What are you talking about?
I don't know, man. But the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is what I'm talking about. So it's dropping May 19th, the same day as Farming Simulator. So you can have your choices between that and I think one's going to be a really bad decision and one's going to be a really good decision. But I guess it'll depend on what you like.
which is funny because I actually think if you buy The Witcher 3 digitally, I think it actually unlocks on the 18th at like 6 Central.
Yeah.
So you can get it early.
And that's
So if you digitally buy it, you actually get way head start on everyone else who's buying from a store.
Yeah, and I actually plan to be streaming that evening. So if you're looking to check it out before you actually go out and buy it that night, I will hopefully be streaming sometime around that night with the digital version on PS4.
And then we have Magic 2 that will be releasing May 26th. I think we have video of that, right?
We have video of that where I streamed it the other night, but we don't have actual video of that for the cast. I meant to actually record some, but got tied up with other stuff and had so many other stuff that actually was either out this week or coming out or just something I hadn't messed with. So anyway, one more.
And then we have Street Fighter 4. This is a Sony ported title. Capcom had no hand in touching this. So this releases on May 26th, same day as Magic 2. Let's get to Europe, and then there's something. Well, I guess for PS3 games, NASCAR 15. If anybody still plays NASCAR games,
Racing Game of the Year, right there.
Yep.
Well,
I haven't touched a NASCAR game in a long time.
Yeah, I know. And Farming Simulator 15 does hit PS3 as well.
Yeah, on May 19th.
Yeah.
And so, and NASCAR 15 hits May 22nd, if I didn't mention that. And then for Vita owners, you receive Hybrid Dimension Neptunia U Action Unleashed.
On the same day as Witcher and Farming Simulator.
No, it doesn't look like there's anything for that. Yeah, it is on the same day, though.
That's if I recall correctly, that's a re-release of Hybrid Dimension Neptunia.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's a re-release. And then for DLC packs, what's dropping is actually, you know what? We'll be talking about DLC shortly, so we won't mention that.
Yeah.
And they say also releasing in May is AIPD. I have no clue what that is.
It's on PS4, so it's probably good. We'll see.
And then we have Arcania, the complete tale. Disney Infinity 2.0 for Vita owners. Not to be confused with the 3.0 Star Wars one that's coming out. Dragon Age Inquisition. Jaws of Hakan DLC. That'll be PS4 and PS3. And then Dying Light, the Bozak Horde DLC. I was told that this is kind of one of the DLC packs that are outside the season pass. But and then we have Steins Gate. That's PS3 and Vita owners. And that's all for our list for May. I guess for all of us here, the only thing that we may even be picking up is the Witcher 3, and then if we got some Final Fantasy fans, jump on Final Fantasy 10, 10-2 if you already packed your PS3 or sold your PS3 already.
Or want the original soundtrack like I do.
Steins Gate may be interesting. That's an anime property. It may be something I check out on Vita. I just have to see what kind of game it is. I have a feeling it's going to be like a strategy game. AIPD, by the way, is a top-down twin-stick shooter. And I'm just saying, Farming Simulator 15, Game of the Year. Game of the Year. Get ready.
That's just a weird title for being dropped on PS4 anyway. I guess, I can't say... You know what? I can't say anything because, you know what? I liked the Surgeon Simulator. So I will take back what I said.
Yeah, if you like Super Stardust, you'll like AIPD for a top-down shooter.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It does look good, so okay.
And Tokyo Stomp is saying hype for Street Fighter. I haven't played in years since Vanilla, and that's actually That's actually the only version I have played. I have only played Street Fighter 4, the original release. So I have not played Super or Ultra or anything. So I have no idea about the rebalances that they've done.
Yeah, the only time I actually played the Street Fighter 4 would have been the PlayStation Plus one that they gave to us all for free, if you had PlayStation Plus membership. I'm guessing? You know what? I might give it a chance, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm not into fighting games, but
I'm not super into fighting games, but I always like to have a fighter just to play around with, and if I have people over. And I mean, it would be a nice addition to Injustice and Mortal Kombat.
Would it be enough to tear away the Mortal Kombat people right now? I mean, I think that's the fighting game everyone is still playing, or is even still talking about.
Oh yeah, and I mean, to me, it's a different focus. Street Fighter's a bit more technical than Mortal Kombat. In some ways, obviously. I mean, some people get super technical with Mortal Kombat, but
yeah,
I think it's also. Oop, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I think also with the way Street Fighter is, it's also going to come down to what stick support does it have.
Yes.
Because that's going to be the big thing to move people over. And because Street Fighter is huge, it's gigantic.
Yeah, they still have tournaments based around it. I actually think they're making a PS4 fight stick that's compatible with both PS4 and PS3, but I don't think current fight sticks will work with PS4, which is unfortunate. Because I was gonna try my I have a Hori, I forget which one it was, but I have a Hori stick I have for PS3 mainly to play Gundam Extreme Versus, and it does not work with PS4. I was sad.
Yeah, the only two fight sticks that work are I think there's two of them, and they only work with Mortal Kombat right now.
Yeah. Ooh, well, I'll have to catch another one at some point for PS4. If I see enough fighters that I want. Like, I only bought it because of Gundam Extreme Versus. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the one I have. Anyway, we're going to go on to DLC and microtransactions. We are talking about Call of Duty 3 Black Ops. They have announced the Season Pass, which will once again be $50, just like always. And they're going to have the Premium Edition for $99. You'll basically save $10 instead of buying the game and buying the Season Pass.
I really didn't understand the freak out on that one, because it's been $50 since Modern Warfare 3, even when they had that Elite subscription. So I found it funny when people were saying that it was more expensive. It's always been $50.
Yeah, as far as I recall, the Season Pass has always been $50.
It could be that DLC gate. Everyone freaking out over DLC and microtransactions now.
Are you trying to call it Inflategate?
Yeah.
Inflategate.
There's a sports reference for the two people out there that get it. Okay, Batman Arkham Knight, $39.99 for the Season Pass, which is 6 months of DLC after release.
Yeah.
They have a premium version as well, but you don't save any money.
Don't save no money.
Well, that's actually pretty typical. I don't, a lot of times you don't end up saving money with the premium version. But there's been a lot of mixed reaction. Well, there's been a lot of negative reaction about this, and I honestly can't see myself paying $40 for DLC, especially when we don't really know what it is, and it's going to be, for the most part, I don't know.
The devs actually even came out to try and, well, let me rephrase that. Their PR people decided to come out and try to spin it where they try to explain what the content could be. So they're like mentioning like Batgirl episodes and like skins and various other things to kind of justify that the $40 is additional content. They're like, oh, it's not like the Catwoman episodes that you saw in the other Batman games. It's actually more content that's being pulled out the game. I mean, sold to the game after.
I think that's the big problem, though, is that Rocksteady doesn't have a very good track record of good DLC.
It's their publisher.
Oh.
I think it's their publisher more than it is them.
You think they're being held back by WB, huh?
Well, I mean, look at Mortal Kombat 10. I mean, they have, the first week, they have a Sub-Zero skin on sale. I mean, it's,
I mean, don't forget, Arkham Asylum was half published by Eidos. It wasn't all Warner Brothers.
Yeah, I don't even remember there being any DLC for that title either. I think there was maybe time trials or something.
Well, that was
Are
Oh
the
no, there was something. There was like a small DLC with like a 3D pack. Okay, I
well,
remember.
plus you had the what was that? That Joker exclusive missions.
Yeah, I remember.
yeah, they were just challenge maps.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
said. I thought it was challenge maps, and
but
then
I mean, it's I don't know. I'm
I
definitely
think
not
it's
interested in the season pass, unfortunately.
yeah,
it's kind of one of those things. If you really are gonna like the base game, then go for it. But if you're honestly gonna be playing too much, or your backlog's gonna be too big, you might as well just wait for a Game of the Year edition because you know it's gonna happen.
yep, they do
Yeah,
it for every Batman game too. And so like they did that with the Asylum, and they did that with the City. Like they are bringing out DLC for City as well. And within I think a year, they brought out the Game of the Year edition. So anyone who's kind of up in arms about this, if the DLC is not you're a little upset and don't want to buy the game because of the DLC, you can wait a year, and the Game of the Year edition will of course be coming out for it.
yeah, and Last of Us
Wouldn't be
Left
surprised.
Behind standalone DLC.
Yep, The Last of Us Left Behind standalone DLC. They have a weird way of doing this because they have like a upgrade program tiers. Like I don't know if you guys checked it out, where uh, let me see, let me pull it up. It's 9.99 for the standalone title, and that if you want the multiplayer, it's an additional $10.
Hmm.
So $20 for the $24 for the multiplayer and the standalone DLC. That's in case you don't want the full game. Let's say you already beat it on PS3, never got a chance to play Left Behind, but you love the multiplayer and you only want to play the DLC for it. They're going to give you the option for it now. They're giving you options. They're giving you like ways to buy it at a cheaper price, I guess you could say. And
Which
they do give you the full single player if you do want it, which you eventually end up paying $40 together. So that's with the DLC pack and the original game with the multiplayer. And I'm a little confused over their additional, I guess, mode or something like that they're adding, and so then you end up paying $50 for the whole game.
I think the hard part about this one is that there's so many keys floating around from it being bundled with the consoles that you could probably find one for $10, $15 and it includes all that with it.
Yeah, and there was actually one hovering around for a while where you can get a good deal for the whole remastered version for like $12, I believe. So I don't
The
know.
only thing I can see this being good for is for people who beat the PS3 version of the
Yeah,
game or played it and beat it and got the PS4 and they never experienced the DLC because they don't have a PS3 or they sold it or stored it away, and then that's the only thing I could see this really being good for.
Well, and but I mean, can't you get the entire remastered game for like 12 or 13 bucks? Is what Tokyo Stomp's saying. And I mean, I do recall seeing that some places
yep,
Yeah,
where you can
uh,
grab the
I
code
did see
a
it.
code for it pretty cheap.
yeah, daily deals are there's quite a few. There's a lot of websites that do the digital codes because of the
Yeah,
bundles.
you just have to be smart about the ones you use.
Hmm.
But there are several. There are actually several legit ones out there.
They did the same thing with what was it, the Pick 3 or whatever, I think it was at the time too.
Hmm. All right, so we have a few day one patches just to talk about briefly. Ryder, what's up with Project Cars?
All right. So let's see. For Project Cars, there's gonna be a day one patch, almost a DLC. Day one patch is gonna be over 800 megabytes for anyone who's conscious about their hard drive space. The patch is essentially required according to Digital Foundry, who said it's impossible to play anything besides one track in solo mode until the update is actually finished. So for
Wow.
anyone who decides to try and outset the patch, you're going to play one race and probably the game's going to tell you to go update, like certain other games do. And then I don't see too much of an issue with that. But then we have Witcher 3. They said there's going to be a small patch. The level designer, Miles Toast, I'm probably saying it wrong,
Hosty.
revealed there will be a day one update for Witcher 3, but it's not because they need it. or you need it, but it's because they say we want it to be the best it can be when it reaches your hand. So I'm guessing it's optimizations for it, and it's nothing really. Yeah, and so they say it includes minor additional tweaks. That's all.
Yeah, and we're planning on having Fextra Life and Steel. They're in the chat right now, but we're planning to have them on the week of Witcher 3 release and kind of have a Witcher 3 blowout for the podcast. So if you're interested in the game or kind of still on the fence or something like that, that would be something to definitely check out, because we're going to have video from it, of course, and we're going to be able to talk about it at length because the game will be out. We'll have, had time to play it, all of us. And that's what they do. They cover that type of game, so they have been digging through the videos and everything.
I think we'll be sure to tell them. We'll be sure to tell them to have little no spoilers because they probably will seriously run through the game in order to start creating their wiki guides and everything.
Yeah, I know. When I was talking to them about this, they're like, "Well, by this point, we've basically overly analyzed every trailer out there, so they will have a lot of information, I'm sure."
Yep.
All right, so let's go straight into news then. Ryder, your favorite demo is selling on eBay. It looks like you might be selling your PS4 here.
Yep, it looks like I might be rich. So eBay users are looking for crazy amounts of money for PlayStation 4 consoles that have the PT installed. There's reasons for this, so let's run it through. PT, the playable demo, that has now been canceled, which is a canceled teaser for Silent Hills. Left the PlayStation Store as of 4/29, so that's April 29th. And it can no longer be downloaded or re-downloaded onto any PS4, even if you have a license for it. So, did you guys grab this now cold item before it left the store? And with this in mind, should we be fearful of our digital purchases now? I mean, despite owning the license, you still can't download it, and should we care since the situation is the game is free?
I sadly think this is going to be the #1 issue with the digital future, is going to be the fact that even though if you do own a license, they still have the rights to take it off the marketplace and not allow you to re-download it. But as for that being said, there have been, since I looked 2 hours ago, there are now 6 more listings of a PS4 being sold with PT. And
we'll run through some numbers where there's like a low count and a high count.
It's whether or not they sell, I have no idea, because most of them I see are they want instant payment, they don't get it, they remove it and relist it.
Yep. So yeah, if anyone's wondering, the listings that we have seen have been who are people taking advantage of the situation is there was a PS4 being sold for $800. That was the lowest amount they had for PT that was on the console. So if anybody kind of questions, when they're selling this PS4 console, they're pretty much selling their account because it has access to it.
Which, hey, I mean, I
guess it's fine if you're getting a cash. You're getting double than the original PS4 costs right now. So I'm guessing that's okay. The other numbers are $1,000, $1,400, and the highest that we've seen is $1,760, which is insane. And there's been word that one has actually been sold once. So good on whoever got away with that. But I don't know. Should we try and take advantage of the situation?
I'm not breaking TOS.
I don't have the demo anyway, so no.
That would require me to sell my account. No way am I selling that much history. I should have created a Euro account, though, with nothing on it, and I should have been good to go.
I know. And then, I don't know, these prices, it makes you wonder.
And speaking of which, Tokyo-san just mentioned that there's a lot of people using dummy new accounts just to download the teaser.
And that's what I was going to say. I said if they went and made a dummy account and just downloaded the teaser before, then, they're set, because they don't even have to bother with losing any digital purchases or anything like that. And Sweet Poison says the demo is priceless.
Yeah,
She wants
pretty
to
much.
use her MasterCard. Yeah, apparently it is priceless now. It
I
is
should.
interesting though that Konami like they cancel it, and so now like it's
Try and
selling
wipe it
for
off the
crazy
face of
amounts
the
of
earth.
money. Yeah,
Say I got an account for all 3 regions. I should see if it's available later still for Europe.
Oh, okay.
That'd be pretty interesting.
I mean, like, have you guys actually experienced any titles that you own that are not like you could probably re-download through the store, but like it's not on the store for purchase? Do you guys have any games like that?
I don't, but I from what I was reading, I know there's actually a few
Yeah, there are a
PS3
There's a
few.
couple.
titles. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That
There's a couple. I'm blanking on what they are right now, but I know there's a few.
I think there's like a few Capcom titles that were like fighting games and they were pulled off. I think
Yeah,
MCV2, I think, or
Oh
I think
yeah,
it was
Marvel
Origins.
vs. Capcom.
Origins
Yeah.
or something like that. Yeah, that one I do remember having that happen to you.
not to upset Vita owners. Everyone, all the Vita owners know that 2-day window where the PSP games and PS1 titles were open for them to buy and play and enjoy themselves, and then 2 days later, after it got open, the doors were closed. So anyone who was lucky enough to get into that window, you could play Crash Bandicoot and Spyro on your Vita. But those were kind of locked or pulled from the store, so that Vita owners can't even try them anymore.
Yeah, I still don't get that. But whatever. It's just the way it goes.
Yep.
I imagine it's a licensing thing.
Yeah, I agree.
So, let's talk about Danganronpa.
Yep. We'll just jump right into Vita anyway.
Yes.
So I don't know. I think it's odd that we don't have Bob on the show for this one because he was super excited whenever this even got mentioned. This name Danganronpa. I still haven't even played it, but so
I need to set aside some time and do it because I want to. I just gotta find the time. My goodness. I have vacation coming up, so that might be something I spend one day doing.
If I was gonna start with one, which one would I start with? Because I've been trying to get it going on the first one.
Yeah.
Are they all on the Vita or?
Yeah, they're all on the Vita. They're even doing like a side one, I believe.
Yeah.
So,
well, but yeah, it's you said it sold over 200,000 copies, right? Between North America
pretty
and
much.
Europe?
Like they say it sold over 200,000 copies in North America and Europe. And we just run through numbers where the NIS American President and CEO Takuro Yamashita, I probably butchered that real bad, revealed in 2014 that Trigger Happy Havoc sold 100,000 copies, and today, last week, Goodbye Despair sold the same amount of North America and EU, so 100,000 there as well. But did this series kind of like some questions that popped up was like, did this series kind of popularize visual novels over here in the West, seeing as there are more now coming? I think there's like a few PS4 titles that are visual novel games, and like there's like another one, the 999 series. That one came over.
That's from before.
No, I know, but I'm saying like the sequel to the 999 series came over here to Vita.
Virtue's Escape. Yeah.
Yeah.
Zero Escape, Virtue's Last Reward. Yeah.
Yep, that was free for PlayStation Plus owners. So.
Yeah, and 999 actually came to 3 DS over here as well.
Yeah.
But I kind of think it actually started when they released Phoenix Wright over here.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I've related the story before, but so I was initially interested in the game, but it wasn't one of those things that was super high on my priority list. And then finally, I decided to go buy it, and I find out there's this super major shortage of it because, like, apparently there was a rush on the game afterward, and they didn't have that many copies printed. Yeah. And so, like, I just remember I got it. I can't remember the site name, but I got it from one of the the big import sites, not PlayAsia, but one that's over here, based over here. And they had been ordering some, and so I grabbed a copy, and then like I see this update like a day or two after they had restocked or whatever, and it's like basically it says demand has been through the roof. We thought this would last us like a month. It sold out in like 2 days.
Yeah, they kind of find out the visual novel games actually, we actually like them, and we're willing to buy them, and they just weren't expecting it to sell out so fast. And so
Yeah.
now we got Danganronpa over here now and other titles coming because we like them, we want them.
Yeah, Axis Games released one X-Blaze on PS3 and Vita, and I want to say they're doing one for PS4 and Vita at the moment. I can't remember. I think they just announced one though. I don't think there's actually one on PS4 yet though.
Yeah, I think there's one being developed. Like I don't remember the name.
Yeah, it's Axis. But yeah, you seem to recall that.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
I think that whole genre in itself has taken off, and it would be with Phoenix Wright. But I also think major JRPGs helped as well, such as Persona, Fate Extra or Fate Story and all that on the PSP. Those are all basically visual novels just with RPG units, like heavy RPG units tacked onto it, and I think those are really starting to take off.
Yeah, and Persona's like awesome anyway, but I think my favorite one out of the more visual novel-ish games, I guess, would be Hotel Dusk actually.
Oh man, I love that when it was on a DS. Like there was even a sequel that you could
the story
import.
Of Cape West or something like that. Yeah, I actually have an import copy. That's how much I like the game. And the sequel is really good as well.
It's where you had to put the DS like at an angle. You couldn't hold it normal.
You had to hold it sideways for most of the game actually. But yeah, those games, like, it was really cool to see them done that way. It was really cool to see it, kind of not only just a visual novel aspect, but you had some puzzles and you also could move around and stuff like that. So I really liked what they did with that game. That might be my favorite, though. Phoenix Wright has some amazing dialogue, even with the English translations. Especially the first game. I still like the first game the best.
And that's why I want to try the Danganronpa series. Like I heard really great things about it, and they're bringing the third one over here, even though I think it's a spin-off. But
I don't remember. But
I don't think it's canon. I think they said it's just a spin-off. But
gotcha. Well, I know when they announced the first game, and right like a couple weeks before it came out, they're like, "Oh, hey guys, Danganronpa 2 is coming out to the US as well, so be ready." That's how well the game apparently was doing, I guess, with pre-order numbers or something. So, I expect that to continue for a little while. But they've actually made a pretty big resurgence on Steam as well, and PC in general. So it'll be interesting to see how many other visual novel type games get ported over here. So we've been talking about a lot of layoffs. Let's talk about a hire, Ryder.
All right. So this is interesting because a former Forza audio lead will be now working on Gran Turismo 7. His name is Mike Caviezel. I guess he
Caviezel?
Yeah, I guess. He served like Turn 10 Studios and Surrey Entertainment as the audio lead for the Forza series.
I'm just trying to bring a guest on the podcast.
We had a special guest that came out all of a sudden. But who here has played any Forza game? Do you kind of prefer it over GT and yeah?
I'm not gonna lie, I do prefer Forza over GT, but it's not because of sound.
Yeah, it's not that either.
It's only because of license tests. I'm not gonna lie. I freaking hate those things.
Yeah.
But overall, I do think the sound department for Polyphony, PD has really been needed, especially for their premium cars.
Yeah.
And I think this hiring is huge, and it actually makes me really pumped for new GT, knowing that there's such a huge guy with incredible background going to be handling the audio. I mean, the guy loves and lives cars, and that's what he loves to do. So I mean, when you got a guy with that enthusiastic going into it, you know you're going to get some great results out of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm hoping they're also working with Evolution Studios a bit too, because I know when they were getting ready to release Drive Club, they had this cool things about Drive Club, and it's like they had all these, they were talking about their sound samples, and they actually said that companies requested copies to update their own samples. That's how good apparently they were. So and I've noticed the game, it does sound pretty good. And Forza Horizon 2, that has some really good sound as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do with GT7, because I'm really hoping like they're really taking their time and they're going back and really making the series, great again. Because I think they've kind of been missing something with 5 and 6.
And Mike wasn't Polyphonic's first Western hire. They actually already do have one Western guy over there. He's the guy working on the user interface of GT7. So,
right, and I think he's from Evolution?
Yeah, he is from Evolution Studios. They did hire Drive Club members to help out.
Yeah.
That'd be good. Because that UI was kind of interesting for 5, and then I didn't play 6 because of all the debacle that was surrounded it.
Yeah. I have a feeling that it's going to be one of those games like where I'll be interested, but it's just so like it's enough of an emphasis on the sim part that I may not end up liking it. I'm hoping I'm wrong. That's why I actually end up liking Forza Horizon 2, because it's like you can basically make it as arcade or as simmy as you want it to be within a spectrum. It's not going to be like iRacing or Project Cars, I guess, but it is going to be. You can make it very simulation like if you want to. You can go something more arcade-ish, and I like that. So, Ryder, we're talking about Person of Interest 2, is that right?
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry, Watch Dogs 2. Watch Dogs 2.
Well, it is very similar. So, so it came out that Watch Dogs 2 is already in development, according to a developer for a LinkedIn page. So, the Ubisoft senior gameplay programmer, Julian Rives, he listed his previous work on Watch Dogs and the Bad Blood DLC. But he also added Watch Dogs 2 to his profile, but he didn't give a timetable of when the development started on the game. But what are you guys' thoughts on the original Watch Dogs? Did you guys even play all the way through to the end, or did you stop playing like I did?
I stopped playing.
I actually finished all the way through the end. I was a drinking trophy and a multiplayer trophy from platinuming the game. I actually really liked Watch Dogs. It actually didn't feel as bad as the standard Ubisoft open world formula. I don't know if this is because I'm a huge GTA guy and I liked driving cars around. I mean, it
could be that.
That could have something to do with it. But I really did like the way that they did a miniature-sized Chicago. I thought it was cool since I live an hour away, and I mean, of course, they renamed some of the sites, for copyrights and licensing fees probably. But overall, the story was was mediocre, but it was enough, I guess, to keep me moving forward and kind of go to the end. And it gave me the same feeling that the first Assassin's Creed did when I finished it. And it was a great. It has great base and premise.
Like a good
proof of concept. But the question is, can they deliver on the second one and give that big of a jump like they did from the first Assassin's Creed to the second?
I hope so. Because I feel like. Go ahead.
And every time I hear you talk about it, it makes me wonder if I should give that game another chance, because it was the crew that murdered me in tossing Watch Dogs into the bargain bin for me, because I tried the beta for the crew and the controls were really, really bad, and then I jumped to Watch Dogs and it was almost as bad, and I couldn't enjoy the experience because of the driving. But it could be that I should have got used to the controls, and then I probably could have pushed along in the game. But I never even got too far into the game before I already was ready to turn it back in.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I played through a decent bit of it. I might have made it halfway through. I don't know. I did a lot of the side stuff actually, but I don't know. There's just some things I really don't like about it. Like, I feel like they had this cool mechanic with hacking, but I feel like they basically turned it into, you know, push a button, something happens, and that's basically it. I did like the sections where you had to, you know, get into an area and find what you were trying to hack and all that kind of stuff, you know, because you would hack a camera and then you'd have to see what you could find and see if you could find like another camera, or if you could find a walkie-talkie or a camera on a person or something like that. I thought those were cool, but those sections were cool. But I felt like the actual driving where you know, hit a stoplight or a steam vent, or, you know, the what is those, the things that come up in the middle of the street, I don't know what they're called, palisades, something like that. I just didn't care for all that stuff. I just thought it was kind of gimmicky, because it just felt like a get out of this chase, or stop this car or something like that. I didn't really feel like you had a lot of opportunities to really use those to your advantage. It was just kind of like, oh, hey, you know, you can hack if you want, but you don't have to. I mean, it's kind of like, think about Assassin's Creed. Like, you can use all of these stealth attacks, and you can kind of incorporate them into what you're doing now. In the first game, it wasn't really that way. Like, the first game, you had the same 5 missions over and over and over again. It was awful in that respect. But I feel like with Watch Dogs, they kind of dropped the ball on what they were doing with the hacking. And I'm hoping that 2 can really improve that and make it feel less like Person of Interest.
I think another thing that, to me, that ruined kind of the gaming experience was the whole invasions of another person's game.
I turned that off.
Yeah,
That's
was
the first thing I did.
If I left it on, but it felt so tacky, and it was kind of weird that they would match your invader's vehicle to the one you were riding. Because if you were riding a bike, all you had to do was look behind you. If you saw anyone on a bike, you just get off and shoot them, and you were done. Because there were no NPCs that rode bikes. I think that was the whole awkward part, was that for some odd reason, this giant city of cars, they couldn't figure out how to get a computer to ride a motorcycle. I mean,
and that's probably actually one of the vehicles that controlled the best.
It was. The bikes were nice. I mean, obviously, and then the other thing would have been, obviously, the whole downgrade of what originally we saw. It wasn't just graphics-wise, it was gameplay-wise. Originally, he was this normal guy who, you know, had the ability to hack, and he didn't constantly do it. In the game, you could pretty much button mash hacking. I mean, there was almost no downtime between you just spamming your square button to get rid of everything. There was a bigger stealth element to the original game, and gunplay was not focused on as much. But then we finally got the final product, and you could just blast your way through anything. It was you were a superhuman war machine, basically, with the ability to hack and steal thousands of dollars just by walking down the street. You never ran out of money. There was no challenge to the game at all.
Yeah, that was something else I didn't really care for. I mean, like, it was kind of a cool idea to have the I thought it was a cool idea to have the hacking elements and showing people, you know, stuff about people, but at the same time, like, everybody had something, so it was just kind of like you'd find the same couple of things over and over, and, you know, you just hack their bank account and they wouldn't know, and so you're just basically stealing money from people off the street. That's what basically the game devolved into.
I mean, I guess they were trying to be funny about it, that's why.
Well, and some of the stuff was kind of humorous, but most of the time it was just kind of silly. We'll see. I'm hoping the second one's better.
So with this, they did remove the Watch Dogs 2 from his profile, the LinkedIn employee. And Ubisoft declined to comment when Video Gamer kind of reached out to them about it. But what do you think could improve in the game to make it better as a franchise? I mean, do you guys have any pointers maybe to give out to the developers that are listening? Would you guys even buy a second game?
I think we've kind of talked about how we thought they could make it better, but I mean, like I say, if they improve some of the stuff, I'd be interested in trying the second game.
I'd always be up for a second game. I was not a huge fan, but I did like the base premise of the first one.
Tokyo Stomps as a prequel. That's
I think,
exactly what it needs.
A prequel.
I think
Before you guys had-
incorporating, obviously bringing in better co-op functionality instead of doing it through DLC would probably be a huge first.
Yeah.
That
wonder
was weird.
I wonder if they have a quote-unquote Game of the Year edition where it has all the DLC and everything. I'd like to give the game another chance.
Yeah, if I find it cheap, I may give it a shot just to see if I can, get the rest of the way through it. But we'll see.
Don't forget that was one of the games that had 12 different editions for release, and I think that's what kind of killed it as well.
Weird.
Yeah, that was also an annoyance. Because everywhere you went, it's like, oh, you get this special DLC.
It's
you get
the
this
Best
special
Buy edition,
DLC.
the GameStop edition.
Also, being next-gen exclusive obviously would be huge too.
Yeah,
I have no idea who did the porting of the PS3 or 360. In fact, I've never even seen it. It was almost like it never happened. So I mean, they probably didn't even have to release it.
I mean, it would have been beneficial because then the game could have probably looked a lot better than it did too.
Yeah, so if they had a prequel for Watch Dogs though, they'd have to call it Watch Dog because there'd only be one at that point.
I mean, the only way they could even do anything would try and explain how he got his hacking abilities besides just talking to that girl, I think, right?
No, they didn't.
That's what I said. So that's what I said. I think the girl's like, well, I never gave this to you, type of deal.
Yeah,
we'll get in trouble.
There was so much that I would love to see a giant 1 hour backstory on the development of that game and see what really went down.
Did they pull a Destiny, you think, Ryder?
Maybe. But at least it was more of a complete game because the DLC was just additional for co-op, I believe. They weren't chopping up the story in order to sell to you later.
Oh, it's cold. Do you have anything else, Vicious?
No, I think we're good on that one.
Okay. We will move on to ukulele. Ryder is now going to play you a ukulele solo, right, Ryder?
Oh yeah, no instruments here. But so the Banjo Kazooie spiritual successor, ukulele, crushed their Kickstarter goal already and is coming to PS4 and Xbox One and a couple other platforms. So the spiritual successor to Banjo Kazooie is from Platonic Games, which is comprised of ex-Rare developers. Really good ones too that have done recent titles right now. And then ukulele, they say it's gonna be all new platforming adventure title for those who love the adventure platforming genre. There's very few that are out there right now, so it's really good that this is coming back. But it's scheduled to release, like I said, on PS4 and other platforms. But what can you guys even remember as being a last good adventure platformer that you played, like on PS3 or PS4? I mean,
does Fez even count as adventure?
I don't know.
I had one until you said PS3 or PS4, and I'm like,
yeah.
Man.
I guess no one even remembers. I can only pick up one, which is the what was it called? The Samburo game, the one that was the Sly Cooper game. Sorry.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, that would probably be the closest one, I guess.
I mean, I guess you could do Ratchet and Clank on the PS3.
Yeah.
But
those were like yearly franchise, so I kind of got burnt out on Ratchet Clank personally.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but other than that, there really hasn't been a true platform adventure probably since. Yeah.
Yeah, for a while. And then for PS4, I think the only one that even is remotely an adventure platforming game outside of yearly releases is that Tinker game, the one with the colors. I forget what it's called. It's a downloadable title. You can't even actually buy it at retail.
It's on PS4. Is it that Tinker
Yep.
game?
Yeah, I think it's called Tinker something.
Lost Tinker or something like that. Lost Tinker, I think. I can't remember. But yeah, I do know what you're talking about. I didn't think it was all that great. I think
Yeah, I didn't hear
saw
so
some
either.
video.
I mean, it was very colorful though. But here it is. It's called The Last Tinker, City of Colors. So yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think Xbox actually had something pretty decent, and it's on PC as well. But beyond that, I mean, you'd have to go on PS4. You'd have to go something Metrovania like Shovel Knight, I guess, would be kind of it.
Yeah, like most of the 2D platforming games, but like no real like 3D ones outside of
Yeah.
like I said, the yearly ones. Like some people kind of said, "Oh, well, Lego," and like, let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about that title.
I mean, like, Lego's good and all, but I wouldn't really put it up there with something like Banjo Kazooie or
Yeah, I
you
wouldn't
know
either.
Super Mario 64 or whatever. I wouldn't put it up there with stuff like that.
Yeah,
And I mean, they're essentially the same game over and over again anyway. No offense to Lego games. I mean, my wife
I mean,
loves them, but
yeah, and I like them as well. I'm not trying to dog them either. It's just that I don't know. That's
They're-
another series I got burnt out on. I was like,
Yeah.
there's way too many coming out every year or multiple
yeah,
times in the year.
That's my thing too. I mean, it's like it's the people that complain about Dynasty Warriors coming out every year, and I'm like, well, if you only pick one up every couple of years or every 3 or 4 years, you're gonna be fine, and you could just play them. But if you want to try to play them every year and then you want to complain about them, I can't really. I don't really know what to tell you.
Yeah, no, I'm the opposite. I pick them up every year and I enjoy them every year.
Oh, for Dynasty Warriors,
I'm
Yeah,
a
I
big
mean-
I'm a big DW fan.
I got into the Gundam ones a bit, but it's kind of one of those things where I kind of have to be in the mood to actually play one of those because I know it's going to take a while to do everything. But I know for myself, I am kind of in the similar vein. I am looking forward to. I keep waiting to hear more about what is it? Earth Defense Force, the 2025 remake for PS4. Cannot wait for that.
So we can run through some numbers a little bit. Ukulele's Kickstarter exceeded its 200. This is rounded off, by the way, because the Kickstarter was using like I think pounds or something. They're trying to go for a $265,000 goal, and it was mentioned that it took them like not even an hour before that was actually met, and actually exceeded within an hour, and then within I would say a day, they earned over $2 million. And like I said, they were only asking for like $250,000. And I mean, have you guys even checked out this title? Like, have you backed it up? Like
I have backed it.
I have backed it as well.
I have not backed it yet, but I'm probably going to in the near future. But I do have 39 days to do so. So
Yep, $24 nets you the game, and then if you go any higher, they start giving you like a soundtrack and like a box and a couple other cool things just to kind of incentivize you to pick it up.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff there.
Yep.
I'm not usually too deep into some of the Kickstarter stuff, but I'm actually looking at another one, but it's board game related, so that's a different podcast.
I mean, with this kind of like overly successful Kickstarter, I mean, could this mean gamers are eager to play games with genres untapped in a long time, or is this kind of like the repertoire of the devs, kind of their history, and maybe the associated vein of being the successor of a well-known game? Maybe that's how it garnered its support like so fast.
Yeah, it's people have been wanting a true Banjo Kazooie, sequel since 2E. I think a lot of people didn't really care for. I think it was Nuts and Bolts.
The Nuts and Bolts one, I didn't really care for it either.
And I mean, it was it was a different focus. I can kind of understand why people may not care for it. But Rare, like when Nintendo or when Microsoft bought Rare, they weren't really Rare at that point. I mean, you really got them for their Perfect Dark and Banjo Kazooie franchises. So at that point, they were no longer really the Rareware that people had grown to know.
Yeah, I think the last titles that they were even popping out was the Grab by the Ghoulies. That one still had some of the Rare group, and they're the ones who branched off and made this title, the ukulele. And then whenever I believe it was what was it? I don't think any of the main rare group was actually working on that nuts and bolts. It was just
Yeah.
whoever was left.
Yeah. But yeah, I do vaguely remember that. They're like from the makers of Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah.
But so I think we're gonna have to do an over under on this at some point in the future. Like over under 3 episodes for a mention of Console Wars.
Yep.
Because once again, I'm referring back to the book Console Wars. If you haven't read it, I encourage you to go check it out. It's about Sega and Nintendo, the big fight in the 90s, and Sony's player, and they actually talk about Rare a bit and all that. So I keep on seeing things now that we keep on talking about, even 25 years later, basically, and we're still talking about some of the stuff that was going on in that book. So I just think it's really interesting how it all kind of ties together, and I mean, even when we're looking at like Sony and Microsoft strategies sometimes, even now, like I feel like we're looking at kind of the quintessential Japanese versus American company, and it's just it's kind of crazy that I'm still drawing all these parallels, even 50 episodes into the cast, more or less. So if you have not read it, I will encourage you to read Console Wars. It is really interesting.
And just a small shout out, the developers actually for the ukulele, they're really friendly, especially their community manager and everybody. So if you want more information, check out their Kickstarter page, and then also they helped me do the info thread. You can find that in PlayStation General by just searching for info ukulele, and it should automatically populate. I think it's on the second page now, thanks to General.
Yeah, the chat seems to be getting into talking about Assassin's Creed reveal that's coming up. I'm looking forward to seeing what they're doing with that.
Yep.
But I'm kind of wary after Unity.
Yeah.
That 0.5 frames per second scene was not my favorite. I was very upset during that particular scene.
And some will say that's kind of like an adventure platformer, but not really, because it's more geared...
I wouldn't call it a platformer.
Yeah, I wouldn't either, but I'm just saying some people kind of do, but I don't know. I didn't even try Unity because of how, like, I heard really bad horror stories, and then I've seen screenshots that would give me nightmares. I just didn't bother with the game, even though I heard it was okay.
It's not, like, awful or anything.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I heard it was okay.
There's just a couple of things that really hung it up from really being really good. I think it's a good game, especially after they fixed some of their technical stuff, but, man... There was some really humdingers day one.
And just from hearing it, I think probably Vicious never even bothered with the game.
I played it to a point where it was
hang
just,
up your hat.
Yeah, it was you would see all these chests everywhere, and you had to use an app to open one chest, use a website to open another one.
They eventually patched that crap out.
But But it killed my motivation to play it so bad that by the time I saw the patch notes, I was like, I don't even care for the game anymore. I'm done with it.
Yeah, they kind of dropped the ball on that too, and I think they hopefully they learned their lesson. Everybody was so worried about Far Cry 4 coming out a couple weeks later, and like it didn't really have any of those issues. So I was very glad to see that. But I'm hoping that's a cautionary tale to Ubisoft to cut some of that stuff out.
Yeah. With them jumping to the Victorian era, that might interest people because, I don't know, might be different.
Yeah. I wasn't super sold on it, but then they started talking about stagecoach fights, and that's something that could be interesting.
Yep.
We'll see. I think still that I like 4 the best out of the current, more current ones.
I do too.
Like 4.
Was awesome.
4 was just awesome. They brought back the ship mechanics. You weren't this annoying person for half the game.
Yeah, it was strange because like the third one was really bad, and then like they turned even I was upset there. I was like, man, I'm not getting 4 because the third game was awful. And then I heard all these great things about it. I was like, oh, you know what? I'll give it a try. And I bought it, and then I actually loved it. And it was weird that they turned around and said, well, we're gonna make Unity now, and I don't know.
I'm not a huge fan of the French stuff anyway, but we'll see how the Victorian era goes.
Yes. So I guess we'll just jump into Tony Hawk.
he's talking about Companion at Initiate's website. Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous, all the stuff they had for that. But yeah, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 has been teased for a while now.
Yeah, we kind of knew about it a little bit, but they gave some details a little bit, thanks to Game Informer. They kind of confirmed that Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 will be coming to PS4 later this year, with the PS3 and 360 copy versions coming much later. But this kind of basic question: why is this even coming to last-gen consoles? I mean, this is Activision we're talking about, and with Call of Duty coming out. I mean, with Call of Duty coming out to PS4 and Xbox One only, why take a step backwards again?
That they want to maximize, and it's basically they're reintroducing an IP at this point. Tony Hawk has been hidden for a long time now. The last thing we really saw from them was Ride, which well
there was that weird HD remake.
There was the HD remake, and that was pretty solid. But beyond that, like, they haven't really had a good Tony Hawk game in a while. So it's just something that I think they're kind of cautiously trying to bring it out and trying to get it to the widest audience possible. But I hope the game doesn't suffer for that.
My only thinking is why they're doing this is because, like, I think a lot of people, I don't know about this group, but I think a lot of people got burned out on the Tony Hawk series.
Yeah,
because they were doing it every year or bi-yearly. It was weird.
And they weren't actually innovating all that much. Like, I think from 2 to 3, they like added the revert and just changed the levels. That's all they really did. Maybe it was the manual.
And a big thing that kind of took away the buzz from it too was the fact that I think I don't know about anyone else, but I was a big Skate fan. Skate to me was huge compared to anything.
It changed the way that you do the controls and everything.
Yeah, and since the last good game that basically they came out with for Tony Hawk was Underground 2, and that was PS2 days, Skate was pretty much everyone's skateboarding game through the last generation.
And they were trying hard, too, to try and get back into people's, I guess, view, which they gave, what was it, the forgettable Tony Hawk 8, and then they tried to introduce a peripheral because everyone was doing peripherals during that time frame.
And
so
Tony
the Ride
Hawk
game
Ride
came out.
was, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Yeah. We're not even going to comment on that further. I think they had Downhill Jam on the Wii. I think that was kind of a launch title, and that was okay. It wasn't like a traditional Tony Hawk game. It was more of a kind of like a not really a racing game. I don't know what I'd call it, but it wasn't like completely awful. It was all right.
There's no vote of confidence in your voice, but
yeah, it wasn't like something that you'd go out of your way to buy at this point, especially. But I mean, it was it's decent for when it came out. But yeah,
so just
go ahead.
So just to like kind of maybe ease people's troubles a little bit, since you said you like the Tony Hawk Pro Skater HD version, it is being developed by the same people, Robomodo. So the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5, they said it should bring back the Pro Skater series gameplay, but the weird thing is that they're going to add like power-ups and the ability to shoot projectiles. I mean, does that mean that the semi-realism part of the series is kind of like going arcade style like SSX? I mean, I don't know, it's weird.
I'm a little lost on the whole shooting projectiles thing because
power up like crazy.
Yeah, SSX Tricky was probably my favorite in that whole series, and when they rebooted it, they to me actually ruined it with the Wing Glider and trying to go too far like crazy. Yeah. So I'm wondering if this is just going to hurt them even more, trying to go do too much instead of just bringing back, a really solid, straight-up skateboarding game. I mean, they could have really created a nice open, I don't want to say open world, but a nice open environment for people to hang out, skate, and, just have fun with the game. But
like a great social aspect.
Now we're going to be shooting tapes with rockets from the bottom of our skateboards or something.
That's what it sounds like to me, too. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not holding my breath on that one, actually.
I think the thing that makes it even more worrisome is the fact that it's made from former employees, not by Neversoft, but by Midway Games. And they haven't done anything real memorable.
Right. Right.
I don't know. Just hearing from the announcement and what's going to be happening, it's bad to give early judgment, but I might give the Game Pass anyway.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm sitting back and waiting, but I am not thinking positive right now.
Yeah, same here.
We'll see. So Spark Unlimited, Ryder.
All right. So Spark Unlimited, we can go down what they made, but Spark Unlimited is going to be closing as a video game developer. It was discovered by a NeoGAF user who highlighted the fact that Spark Unlimited was selling all their equipment, and that the Spark Unlimited John Rovich sent a statement to IGN shortly after, kind of confirming the closure. So, what titles have you played from that studio, and any additional thoughts to the closure from you guys?
Well, I am blanking on any titles that I've heard
of.
No.
So. I knew that. I knew this was gonna be a problem. So I came prepared. So the titles they have made is Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z, which was a 2014 title. It was on PS3. Metacritic score was 43%. Lost Planet 3. That's really upsetting because Lost Planet 2 and 1 were great, and they really destroyed that series with the third one.
I didn't mind 3, but yeah, it
wasn't that great.
It wasn't that great. And then, of course,
that one,
go ahead. You're gonna.
That one hit a 58% for Metacritic, so not many people liked it either.
I know some people that were really into that series. I never really got into Lost Planet that much.
No, I mean, it's true. Like the first and second one was really good, and then the third one, I don't know what the heck happened there.
The second one was all right. I'm sure the second one was actually more enjoyable if you had people to play it with. I didn't really know that many people were playing it though.
And then
anything else? Go ahead.
Yeah, and there was another title called Legendary, and that was released in 2008, and that's where.
I vaguely remember.
Yeah, I remember this one. This one was really bad.
I remember the demo. That was enough to kill all hopes on that game. That was terrible.
I think it had a premise of mythology mixed with like shooting combat. So
something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it was really weird. And then that one was at a 47% for Metacritic, so not many people like that. The one game, this one was funny because I actually bought this game, and because it was called Turning Point Fall of Liberty, and I think it was like, I think it was like a faction that had taken over the United States as it was building itself up. In the early 70s and 80s. So it was weird. It was a weird timeline. But it was so broken when it was released, and it didn't look the greatest either. Like, it looked like a PS2 title that had been up-resed.
I remember the initial reveal for that game, and it looked so cool. And I remember.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I was interested. Yeah.
And then I remember coming out, and then basically what you wanted out of that game just turned into a different story and turned into the Saboteur.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, the Saboteur, right?
No, it's called Turning Point, but it was very similar to the Saboteur.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Turning Point: Fall of Liberty was the name of the game. And,
okay, I don't remember that one actually. Okay.
Yeah, it was at a 42%. The weird thing is, all these are low percentages for Metacritic, so a lot of people didn't even like their games. The only title that did really well, and I actually owned this when I had my PS2, it was Call of Duty Finest Hour.
I do remember that.
That one was Call of Duty was being brought to the consoles and for the first time, and I think it was the first title that it showed that was branching off from the Medal of Honor series. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know, I liked it.
Yeah,
but that one actually had a high Metacritic. It was at 73%. That was their only good, and that's the lowest reaching for saying good. That was their only good title out of the 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 5 they made.
That I believe sums up why I can't really keep their doors open, unfortunately. Yeah. It's you know what, I hate to see a studio close just in general. It's not, I mean, people are out of jobs, they have to go find something else, and, somebody obviously wanted the studio to do well in the first place, but
they were like one
really
of the few last companies that was a part of the B tier that's disappeared.
Yeah. And let's quickly mention that for a moment, because everybody keeps on saying, I don't want to see indie games, I don't want to see indie games. But I think what you're actually seeing is these smaller, projects, be they indie or otherwise. I mean, look at look at Child of Light. That's an UbiArt game. They, it's a smaller project for them, but it's something they can release between their big releases. But I mean,
yep.
The people that say I don't want indie games, I just wonder what exactly they do want, because you got to realize we're not going to get AAA games all the time. I mean, it just simply doesn't happen.
There's like the money and the time aspect of it, and like they can't just keep popping them out. We don't have as many studios as we used to.
Yeah, and the other thing, I mean, even on PS3, 360, we didn't get AAA titles like every single month. I'm sure we had some years that were better than others, but I think what you're seeing though is, I think the middle games kind of going away. That's what you're seeing a bit of. I don't think you see nearly as many middle of the road games, and I think that's partially because
most
the
studios have closed their doors.
Yeah, well, and a lot of studios are closing their doors, but the AAA games, there's still a good amount of them out there, and then there's a lot of smaller titles that people can kind of fill the time between with. I mean, you'll have niche titles like Dragon Ball and J-Stars Ultimate and stuff like that are going to sell to a particular market, but beyond that, it's like, I don't know, like it's a tough thing to do now. You can't really release a game that's kind of middle of the road and do all that well anymore, and I think that's just something that the video game industry is going to have to face going forward. It'd be nice to see that change, because I mean, there's been some pretty cool middle of the road games that I've really liked, but I think that's what's happening. I don't think we're missing out on AAA games. I think the middle of the road games are going away.
I think also many people are confusing the label indie to being cheap. I think that's a hard concept that a lot of people are getting around, because there's a lot of really good indie games that I've had more fun with than any AAA game. There's a lot of good ones coming out that are going to be huge as well. I mean, we got No Man's Sky made by 4 guys. I mean,
yeah, and then what we talked about earlier, Yooka-Laylee, that one's not being backed by a big publisher. That's a pure indie title.
And you got that, and then Everyone's Gone to Rapture is going to be hitting later on this year, which is I'm really looking forward to. The biggest one I think that's going to sell and really, really show the indie space as well is going to be Rhyme.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
I think No Man's Sky is a little more anticipated right now, just simply because we know a bit more about it. But Rhyme is one I'm definitely wanting to play.
I also think you're going to see, we're probably going to have more closure despite us not wanting it, but I think we're also going to see a move towards more generated content, procedural level, generated, where everything is random, and that's going to save on development time. I think right now the problem is no one wants to invest in it, and we're all stuck in the Stone Age when it comes to creating video games. We're all using old techniques, and then they release these games, they're buggy, no one likes them, and it's the same old stuff over and over again. I think it's just a matter of time before indies at a point are the next AAA games or are the next middle road, and they're going to be a great bang for buck. I mean, you're going to be able to spend $15 and pick it up and play it whenever you want.
Yeah, Tokyo Pop, Evil Within actually did do pretty well. I believe they actually said recently that it did pretty well. And that's the one example of, kind of a middle-of-the-road-ish game that actually did do well. But I think it's a bit more of a niche market, because it's it's a horror title. It's kind of hit or miss whether they sell. I mean, they, obviously with Resident Evil turning into an action series, they haven't been doing as well. But, if you got a decent horror title, you have a market out there that doesn't really have a lot of other games coming out. I mean, that's kind of like, Dragon Ball Xenoverse earlier this year. there simply aren't many anime games coming out for the PS4 yet, so it kind of has a stranglehold on that market right now. And between Evil Within and Alien Isolation, that's been the two major horror releases that I can remember for a while.
And I think that's kind of the big bummer is the fact that we're not possibly going to get the Silent Hills that we all wanted in PT, which, yeah, that would have been a dream come true. And as for the sales numbers, yeah, Evil Within did 818,000 within its first week worldwide. So I mean, it definitely sold well.
Yeah. But let's take a look at.
Yeah, they said, I believe Tokyo Stomp said kind of look it up as 3 million-ish, I believe.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's using VG charts, so who knows what their numbers are. They have to kind of guess to fill in some of those numbers, so they could be right, they could be a little out there. You never can tell. But I mean, it seems reasonable based on, that 818,000 for the first week. I mean, that seems like that would go on to sell decently well.
Yeah, and that was MPD, not VG awesomeness.
Okay. VG charts, some people, I use it to get a somewhat decent idea of where a game might be. But I mean, some people go out there and they quote it like it's the exact number, and I'm like, oh,
yeah, no, it's not really accurate.
But let's take a look at EA's financial stuff here. They let loose some release dates here.
Yep, not to bore you guys with numbers or anything like that. We'll just run through what we all want, which is the release calendar for games. So quarter 1 and quarter 2, there really hasn't been nothing for EA. Quarter 2 does have sports games. That's probably why I said there's nothing.
Wait. We're not going through the financials. I had an entire breakdown and a pie chart.
No, we're not. I think the podcast would shut down and there would be no people looking at it. But we'll go through the games. So quarter 2, FIFA 16, and NFL 16, and NHL 16, and Rory
McIlroy.
PJ Tour.
McIlroy.
Yeah, PJ Tour. I'm sure PJ Tour 16. So it's pretty much all sports titles for those who love their sports games. In quarter 3, specifies quarter 2 is July through September, by the way. So those 3 titles will be coming out between that time frame. Quarter 3, they said it's going to be October through December.
They must have delayed Roy McIlroy, by the way, because I'm pretty sure that was June. But whatever.
Okay.
NBA Live, you said. Hopefully that's better than the last one.
So it's going to be NBA Live 16, an untitled Need for Speed title since they skipped it last year. Of course, Star Wars Battlefront for those who are Battlefield fans. I mean, for Star Wars fans. Let's see.
I haven't seen gameplay, and he's already trashing it. Wow.
And then quarter 4, which is January through March of next year, will consist of the sequel to Mirror's Edge and an untitled Plants vs. Zombies game. So maybe a sequel to Garden Warfare? Who knows? But what do you guys think of the list? Which one would you go for?
If I recall, Garden Warfare did decently well, so
especially since it was free for a day
at one point. Yeah, but even then, I think it did all right. So I actually wouldn't be surprised to see a Garden Warfare 2 of some kind, especially if they're playing. Talking about it that far out. But I mean, I'm interested in Roy McIlroy. I'm always up to check out a golf game. It's kind of they're always kind of hit or miss, but I did enjoy some of the older Tiger Woods. But we'll see.
Yeah, that was weird. I guess I've been out of the loop in a while. I always thought it was Tiger Woods, and then I see Rory McIlroy. I'm like, who's that guy?
He's I think he might be the #1 player in the world now.
I'm guessing they swapped over maybe a year or two ago.
They actually haven't had a golf game in a while.
Okay.
They have not had a sponsor on it. After Tiger's stuff went down.
Whole debacle, yeah.
Yeah, after all that, they dropped him, and I don't know. They may have released just PGA Tour, but I know they didn't have a game last year.
Oh, okay.
So, but I wanted to say it's been a couple years since I had one. But yeah, I'm interested in checking that out. As long as they don't take the game too seriously and give us what it is, basically an arcade-ish golf game, I'll be fine with that. I'm actually curious about NHL 16 this year too. I feel like I'm getting a little bit more into hockey, and I'd like to see what they actually can do with a full development cycle for NHL 16 on PS4. Madden, FIFA, not a fan.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I said. I think it's more for sports, for people who love their sports games. So that's great. It's great that they're still pumping those out for them.
I think the one sports game though that I'm actually looking forward to is, and I mean I bought the last one too, was NBA Live 15. To me, was a huge jump over how bad 14 really was.
Well,
I thought the 2K series was the better versions, but
it is to most people. But
obviously 2K is overall the better game, but I mean NBA Live 15 was a huge jump over 14.
Well,
and I honestly would love to have competition in that marketplace because of the whole VC issues that's been going on and the terrible net coding that 2K constantly says every year they will fix it. But for some odd reason, there's still a massive button delay when you're playing in, the multiplayer modes, and I just don't get it. It's becoming a joke where you just pay to have the #1 character and go in the multiplayer. So I'm really actually looking forward to seeing what they do with NBA Live 16.
We shall see. But I mean, to be fair, Vicious, I mean, NBA Live 13 was canceled before it was released. 14, well, we know how that went.
Yeah.
So 15 could only go up. I mean, I don't know. I do hope 16 is better, just to kind of drive 2K to improve their game even more. I mean, that's kind of what's interesting about MLB The Show. They don't really have competition.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They still keep working on the game.
I wish 2K had not bowed out, because then when you don't have competition, you just think you can do whatever you want, like how Sony kind of was going to shut down the servers for the show 14.
Wasn't MLB 2K really bad?
Yeah, I know, but it's still good to have competition there.
Version equivalent.
It was pretty bad.
It's better than the RBI that's...
RBI is, like, if you want a quick pick up and play, maybe that would work, but I haven't played it, so I can't comment. But, it's one of those deals where I do like that 15 is kind of, MLB The Show's kind of kept pace, and actually, they actually do work on stuff. But yeah, we'll see on... I do hope that somebody comes along with another baseball game just to keep pushing the show.
All right, and then Tokyo Stop is drinking too much Kool-Aid, saying RBI is actually really good, but I don't know.
I'm still waiting for.
There are a group of people that like it, and
I guess.
I do want to try it because I mean, from what I understand, it's a decent pick up and play game. It's just not like it's not a deep experience, and I prefer something like The Show where it's a bit deeper. I personally like Road to the Show. That's what I actually get into the most. And I've considered doing a Road to the Show video series, but I'm awful, so I'm not going to bother with that.
He also brings up a point for Tokyo Sound. He says that NHL 15 was kind of a disappointment. And I agree. There's a lot of people in our group who was looking forward to it. So hopefully they improve NHL 16 and have actually all the modes this time around instead of saying, we'll do that next time type of explanation.
Yeah, and I was actually going to pick up 15, and then I saw all the stuff that was missing, and I'm like, well, maybe not. So that's why I'm really hoping 16's, good this time around, because I was looking forward to 15, and they kind of, it kind of pulled WWE 2K15.
I was going to say, they did the same thing. So.
Yeah. All right, looks like we're on our last topic.
Yep. Well, actually, before we even jump into our next topic, there was one thing that came out this week that I don't know if there's in our group there's Mega Man Legends fans, but I know you played it, right, Mike?
Which one was that?
You played the really bad version. You played the N64 version.
Oh, Mega Man Legends. Yes. Go ahead.
So there was a
no,
release.
I paid the PS1 version.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Misadventure Trombone. That was actually surprisingly Capcom has released that, and that's a Mega Man. Even though it doesn't have him in that game, it's a prequel to the Mega Man Legends series.
Wait! They actually released that?
Yep,
Yeah.
they released it as of today.
I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
Is it
So
playable
that was
on
surprising.
Vita?
I thought that was under copyright, so that's why they couldn't even release it.
I don't know. Give me a sec. I'll grab my Vita.
No, but I mean you can buy it. So.
Well, no. I'm saying, is it playable on Vita? Because
Yes,
I don't want
it
to
is
power
playable
my
on Vita.
PS3.
It does say Vita compatible.
I know something that I will be purchasing after the podcast.
Because I love Trombone.
I did not realize that Trombone was out. Trombone, I think, actually was her U.S. name, but whatever. I did not realize that. So yes, I will be picking that up.
Yeah, I probably will too. Like, I don't know, like Capcom, if they bring the Mega Legends series over, I'd love that. But they keep giving me this. They keep giving this. Oh, it's copyright. We can't do that. And they said the same thing with Trombone. Like, oh, that's copyright. I guess because the original developer TJ Infinity, he owns it or something. And I don't understand why they just don't bring him out for the Vita. I mean, there's. I'm just a big Mega Man Legends fan. We'll just say that. And if they were to have all three, that'd be fantastic.
I wish they could release 1 and 2 to it, so I could at least mess around with them on PlayStation TV or something. I don't want to power on my PS3 with the craziness.
Yeah, I don't want to either. And so that's why it's great that this is actually compatible with the Vita, because then I don't have to turn on my PS3. I just enjoy it on the go. Or enjoy it downstairs.
Yeah, I will be probably picking that up shortly here. I am glad somebody... we know Tokyo Stomp. Believe me, we know.
Yeah,
the tears are real.
Yep, it's especially for me. I haven't bought a Capcom game in a long time because of their decisions.
Yeah, they're becoming the next Konami of gaming right now. Not as bad, but
yeah, not as bad, but
their decision making lately has been questionable. I mean, we're still waiting for Deep Down. Then they announced Dragon's Dogma Online without even getting Deep Down out first.
Yeah, like I had someone who wanted me to do an info thread for Dragon's Dogma. I was like, I don't think that game's even coming over here. Like we don't even have Deep Down.
Yeah, right now it's not.
We're getting like Square Enix amounts of announcements with nothing to show.
Yeah, who knows? But yes, I am glad you guys brought that up because Trombone, awesome.
Yep.
So the Sony is not holding Gamescom 2015.
Yep, there's our final topic for tonight. So. This kind of had a lot of people scratching their heads. So Sony's not going to Gamescom this year for 2015. They said that, which by the way, Gamescom is going to be happening August 5th. And they said that instead they're going to be holding an international media briefing at the Paris Games Week, which is on October 27th. But given that Gamescom's close proximity to E3 and Tokyo Game Show, and amongst other events, do you guys think
TGS
this is
this year?
Yeah. I don't know if they're going to TGS, but I just know that they're all like close to each other for a release.
Well, no. I'm saying, when is it this year? Do we know? Like what? I can't remember what month it's in. Sure. I want to say it's in September, but I can't remember. But I don't know. They went to Gamescom last year, and I believe that was in August. So,
but the E3 was in June though. So they had enough time.
Oh, is E3 not in June this year?
I think it's like near the end though this year.
No, it's like the middle of June. It's like the 8th or something.
Or something like that.
Oh, okay. Whatever.
Yeah, TGS is 9/19, so September 19th.
Well, I mean, I feel like the I saw some people saying that it was too soon after E3, so I expected it to be like early July or something, but I feel like the Gamescom was right around that time last year. Maybe it was a bit later in August, actually. So, I don't know.
Yeah, they said E3 is a week later this year, and Gamescom's a week earlier.
Okay.
So, 2 week difference.
that makes a little bit more sense, and I do realize it's a little bit later, and I like I said, I thought it was a bit later. Gamescom was a bit later last year, but we'll see how that goes. I think Gamescom is the biggest European event, so I don't know how popular the Paris week is. So I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't even know anything about Paris week until someone said, "Well, they're not going to Gamescom; they're going to Paris week." I'm like, "Well, I guess I'll check out this show I've never heard of."
Well, I think the hard part for them too is they now have 4 events every year. With announcements. You got E3, you got Gamescom, which they're skipping this year, and then they moved it to the Paris. And then you got TGS, and then now we also have PSX in December.
Yeah, they're gonna have the PlayStation experience since they kind of said our first ever.
and they already
dropped the ball right out of the gate.
Yeah.
And they pretty much stated that they want big announcements at PSX, so it's.
They're trying to save their cards.
Yeah, I mean, so it's going to be a little bit awkward here on announcements if they're going to hold back because of all year, because then it's, to be honest, you're just going to hear nothing but backlash all year. Like, oh, they didn't show anything. Oh.
Yeah, they'd be like, Microsoft was at Gamescom. Where was Sony?
We'll see. They got plenty of stuff to talk about, though. I mean, just between E3 and TGS and PlayStation Experience and whatever's in Paris.
Yeah, and Tokyo Stomp, he brings up a point where they are doing the road to what was it called? The road to greatness right now.
Yeah.
So,
well, and that's just a tour, showing off new games. That's all they're doing.
See, that was a demo, basically mobile demo thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, it's cool if it comes near you, but it's not like they're having any announcements or anything there. But yeah, I mean, they have plenty of marketing opportunities. And if I was Sony, I mean, I would definitely want to have a couple of big things in store for PSX. I mean, you want the event to, and you don't want the event to get big. You want your PlayStation fans excited. I would have at least something big to announce there. So that doesn't surprise me.
Actually, I'm looking. It looks like Road to Greatness is still going on.
Yeah.
It looks like
they're restarting it. They actually, I think, just restarted it like today. I got an email about it.
Yeah, it said they were at the Stagecoach Music Festival in April. Rock on the Range is on the 15th to 17th in Ohio. Then they're going to be at the Counterpoint Music Festival from May 22nd to the 24th. Rhode Island Air Show the May 28th to 31st. Free Press Summerfest from June 6th to June 7th. They'll be at Summerfest, of course, in Milwaukee. I think they're there every year at Summerfest for basically 2 weeks. And then you got the New Jersey Festival of Ballooning and Music Fest.
Well, yeah, it's never been anywhere near me, so I've never.
I think you can request it, though.
Yeah, you can, but I never saw the need.
The only big thing this year with it is the Ultimate Street Fighter 4 tournament, which the winner gets a free trip to the Capcom Cup.
That's cool. I'll be curious to see if they do something like they did last year for E3. I don't know if you guys remember, but they had it showing in select theaters. Yeah, I wonder if they'll do something like that again. Honestly, because I think the event went pretty well. I mean, the theater was pretty packed. If they do, I hope they work better on their stream. That was not so great.
Well,
but
it was wasn't it kind of free anyway? They just go there.
Yeah, it was free. I mean, you got a little lanyard, and you got the Destiny Alpha code, and something else. You got a couple other things. It was cool. I mean, but it was just something cool to have PlayStation fans together in a room where you couldn't really go to something like PlayStation Experience or something like that. So I'm kind of hoping they do something like that again. And hopefully they have a bit more interesting show this time. I kind of felt like last year it was kind of like you were getting hyped up for the show because they were showing it in theaters. It's like, oh, they must have something really cool to show off. And then it's like, well, it's just kind of a ho-hum E3. And it's like, whatever. It was still cool, though.
They were kind of bogged down by a few technical difficulties as well.
Yeah.
But I did get to meet the JLC last year, so it was kind of cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you guys must be in the same hometown.
Yeah, we're both around the Chicago area.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, we pretty much, me and him were show your badge before you get in the movie theater. We're knocking you out.
Yeah. But yeah, unless you guys have anything else, I think we are done.
Yep.
If you have enjoyed your time tonight, I would definitely encourage you to follow us on Twitch here. We're going to be doing this every Thursday night, right around 8 o'clock. I'm going to be trying to stream more throughout the week. It probably maybe Saturday before I actually stream again at this point. I'm not sure what's going on tomorrow night just yet. But if I don't have anything going on tomorrow night, there's a good chance I'll stream then. But I would definitely encourage you to follow, check us out, and give us your thoughts and feedback. Any topics or questions or feedback or anything else that you'd want to hear us discuss, shoot us an email or send me a message on here. Either one. Email is mvp@psmvp.com, or like I said, message me here and we'll go from there. But
Yep.
feedback,
and we appreciate your feedback. Just let us
Yep.
know.
Yep. And with that, we are out, guys. Have a good one.
All right. See you guys.
Later.
Later.